touch more than some feelings had me wild stressed. Sometimes wonder if my hardships has gotten tested. So often I forget to praise lessons before I get blessed. Depressed, try and find out how the best feel shot. But watching niggas round me blow for the best hit shot. It's like I'm supposed to be great, but I can't amount to my fate, and I can't live up to my destiny. So I rest here, shot. My God, I can only be what I am. So I went and eat my body just to prove that I ain't lying. But somehow I'm having trouble with identity. It's crazy, but so often I remember life is cause God made me. And everything is everything, but everything been challenging here lately. Walk a tightrope, but balance ain't here lately. Dodging all these calls and texts, acting like I'm too busy. But really, I don't wanna talk to niggas, but I'm too friendly since bro passed. I ain't been the same and shit ain't cool with me. Was wildin' out on Shawty, she ain't know what else to do with me. She cut ties and said she always loved me, but she through with me. Before we meet again, there be some shit you have to prove to me.
Good morning, everybody. Good morning, or good afternoon, good evening, wherever you are, whatever time it is you see this video. Greetings. Today, we're going to speak on the topic of self-esteem. You know, I think a lot of the issues that we suffer from as human beings and individuals, particularly the mental and emotional ailments that we suffer from, I believe a lot of these things stem from self-esteem or just the lack of confidence in self. I had a conversation with someone recently, and I think that was one of the main things that sparked this idea in my head, because we were talking about anxiety, we were talking about the need for validation from other people, and a lot of times, or insecurities too. Like a lot of times, our insecurities, if someone touches one of our insecurities, we our ego allows us to get riled up or defensive, and which isn't necessarily a bad thing. It's just a defense mechanism. You know what I mean? That's how as humans we survive. But a lot of times those responses come from our own self-perception. So, for example, the idea of someone who feels like they may not be that smart or that intelligent. If a situation comes up where they're corrected, or someone says, "Oh no, that's not right," or some situation happens where that person is made to feel embarrassed about their intelligence, that having that insecurity already is going to make them react in a certain way. That stems from them believing in their own self that they are stupid or not smart or not intelligent or not capable or whatever that may be. So the point I'm making being that our self-esteem, typically, it seems, in a lot of these states, depression, anxiety, are attached to how we view ourselves and how we self-perceive. So I can say for my own self in life and growing up, I always felt like everyone else's opinion was more valid for whatever reason than my own opinion. Like if someone were to say something about me, instead of me being like, "What?" I would be more I'd be more apt to ponder over that. Like, oh, am I this kind of person, or am I that way, or am I, you know what I mean? Because I didn't have any real knowledge of self, so to speak. I didn't know who I was, and not having that confidence, I had very low confidence, had very low self-esteem, and having those issues caused me to be open to everyone's criticism and longing for everyone's validation, because I didn't know how to validate myself first. So, and this is something that I keep coming back to, and if you continue to watch this channel, you're probably going to hear me speak on this often, because truthfully, these are tools that in a lot of ways have saved my life. there were times where I was really low. You know what I mean? I was really in a very depressed state because I was so miserable in my condition and how I was living, and being so anxious that I almost couldn't function in normal society, and that's a burden, especially on a young person. So that being the thing that the thing that I'm speaking on, that you're going to hear me speak on often, is the idea of proving self to self. That's one of the biggest things that has effectively saved my life, is getting in these adverse places within self and seeing what I'm made of, and talking to myself as if nobody can stop me, nobody can hurt me, nobody can see me. I am him. That's how I have to speak to myself when I'm in these adverse situations that I self-inflict. I had to self-inflict. Not all of them. There were certain situations that would happen to me that I had to flip my perspective on and look at it a certain way in order for me to use it as gas or fuel. Proving self to self is it's one of the paramount things for me in my growth and my gaining of confidence. When you put yourself in situations, but even if you don't put yourself in situations, when life puts you in situations that are adverse, and you're like, we tend to go to the very negative self-talk. We go to these negative places of, oh, why does it always happen to me? Of course. Oh, this is my life. My life sucks. Oh, God. All of this just negative, negativity. Instead of being like, I look at it like this. I have to look at life situations and life situations in particular as happening for me and not to me. So when things happen, I have to flip my perspective on what's happening, and anything that happens to me that is negative or adverse gives me an opportunity to grow from it, because we grow in adversity. We don't grow in our season of winning. We grow in our seasons of losing, because when we win, a lot of times, a lot of us, we win and we want to celebrate and be up and you know what I'm saying, like, kind of throw caution to the wind. But when we're losing, that's the lowest point we can be. That's our bottom. That's, you know what I mean. If at that bottom we can only go up. So when these things are happening to us, we have to flip our perspective and look at these situations as, these are happening for me. Thank you for the adversity. Thank you for these things that are happening to me in order for me to grow, in order for me to test myself and prove myself to myself. Like, am I gonna fold, or am I gonna stand up and run through this shit? Not even and run straight into it. Not tiptoe into. We're gonna run straight into it. And so when life situations aren't happening to you, when things are up, when you're comfortable, when you got food in the refrigerator, when your people are good and everything around you is going good, at that time, that's when you can start to do, like, putting yourself in very adverse situations. Whether that be anything that you don't want to do is considered, in my opinion, adverse. So if that's waking up extremely early, if that's working out really, really hard, putting yourself through a workout that you feel like, oh my God, how you look at it and you're like, there's no way I could do this. And then you do it anyway, and you get to the end of it and you complete it. And then you're like, wow, like, I've been selling myself short this whole time. It's all about our perspective and how we look at these things in our lives. We have to stop looking towards comfort and comfortability as being our savior, because it's doing nothing but killing us. Straight up, it's killing us. Like, I've never grown being comfortable, and no one can make the argument that being comfortable is gonna be conducive to our growth. You can't make that argument. I don't think it's ever happened. There's nobody that's ever done anything great or achieved anything or has succeeded in their comfort zone. You understand what I'm saying? So I would think that it would be beneficial for all of us to inflict these adversities on ourselves, especially us who come from places of low self-esteem. There's some people that have high levels of confidence. Maybe they were born with it. I don't know. Maybe it's Maybelline. But regardless, some of these people have high confidence and they're what they call extroverted, and they're able to go out into the world and sort of present themselves and project themselves outwardly in a way that is just kind of undeniable. But for other people who are living in a space of depression and anxiety and low self-esteem, your greatest asset is going to be adversity and putting yourself under strenuous conditions frequently as possible. Whether that means, like I said, waking up earlier than seems normal or preferable for you, or going through these workouts, or not eating, or like doing fasts, whatever it is for you. Make it hard for yourself so you can prove yourself to yourself, and you can say, damn, like I am capable of a lot of things. I don't understand why I think this person's better than me when all they do is seek comfort. You know, I'm trying myself all the time. I deserve to have a place on the stage to speak. Everybody else ain't better than me. I deserve my spot to speak too. You understand? But you got to earn it. And you got to earn it through that adversity. So anyway, once again, like I said, these things that I'm going to say in these videos are all things that have helped me become a more confident, a more quote unquote extroverted individual. Because like I said, I came from a very low place. And I could tell my story at some point, you know, on here, but I came from a very low place, very low self-esteem, many insecurities. But listen, you have to make the decision, because understand, these states of being are your choice. You're choosing all of these states of being. So if you're depressed and you're anxious, that's because you're choosing it. You can get up at any moment and change that shit. So until you decide to do that, you're going to live in that space. And for some of us, we saying, nah, no more. So I hope you say the same thing. Anyway, once again, I appreciate everybody watching, man. Peace.